Do you remember the days when we used to design websites and applications inside of Photoshop? It was so much fun. Actually, I remember those days, and they were absolutely horrible. Photoshop is an amazing tool, but it's not made for web and UI design. So designing those types of interfaces inside of Photoshop was clunky and slow and hard and really taxing. Better tools have come out, like Figma and Adobe XD, but Photoshop still has its place. It has a ton of amazing features and tools that you can use even if you are a web and UI designer. So in today's video, I want to share with you the top 5 techniques inside of Photoshop that you need to know as a UI and web designer. All right, let's jump into the very first technique, and that is masking and removing objects from their background. I'm inside of Photoshop right now, and I have this fantastic image that I want to work with. I want to pull this gentleman out so I can use him in maybe a composition or inside of a website header design. To do that, I'm going to come down to my layers panel, simply click on it and unlock my image. Next thing I want to do is go over to my tools panel on the left-hand side. I'm going to zoom in and you can see the quick selection tool. The hotkey of that is W. With the quick selection tool selected, we're able to use it, or we can move up to the top of our interface here and do select subject or select and mask. I'm going to hit select subject, and Photoshop is super smart. It's going to think for a split second, but look at that. It's grabbed our object perfect. Once our subject matter is selected, you can either Command C, Command V to actually create a cutout version of it, or if you wanted to go back to your original layer that we had down here in the layers panel, make sure that it's selected, that you have the marching ants going around your subject still, and then all you have to do is hit your little mask. And when you do that, it masks everything out. From here, we'd be able to grab our subject, put them into a website, maybe composite it into a cool collage of some sort, and that's masking and removing subject from the background. The next technique that you're going to want to learn is how to color correct an image. I have a fantastic image that I'm working with here. I really like it, but the colors are not quite exactly what I'm looking for my application or my website. There's a lot of ways to color correct inside of Photoshop, but for me, the easiest way is to drop some sort of color correction layer on top of your image. To do this, you're going to head down to the bottom right-hand corner of Photoshop and click on the adjustments icon. This is going to open up all the different types of color correction and adjustments you can do for your image. The top 3 adjustments that I usually make on my images include brightness and contrast, levels, and also hue and saturation. So let's add a levels adjustment, a brightness and contrast, and then also a hue and saturation. You can see once we've selected each one of these, we get different contextual options in our right-hand panel for our properties. This is going to allow us to make some adjustments. So with hue and saturation selected, we can actually change the hue of the image. Maybe we want to be a little bit more on the green side, and we can actually increase or decrease the saturation here as well. So I'm just going to do a little bit of a saturation adjustment. I'm going to move down to brightness and contrast. I'm going to make it punch a little bit more with some contrast. I'm going to play with the brightness and just give it a little less brightness so it has just a little bit more of those blacks inside of it. And then lastly, I'm going to jump into levels where we can really start editing the black, white, and the gray levels inside. I'm going to drag my black arrow over a little bit so we get a little bit more punchy on the black. I'm going to bring my white over so we kind of up the whites a little bit. And I might leave my grays exactly where they're at, or I might adjust them a slight amount. After I'm done doing that, I can actually grab all of my adjustment layers, Command G, put them in a group, and then I can turn them on and off to see the difference between the original and my newly revised version. All right, the next technique you might want to learn is simple blemish removal. We have our subject back on our screen, and I think he looks amazing and great exactly the way he is. But if you zoom in, you can see he does have a couple blemishes. Maybe this is our customer, our client, or maybe our stakeholders or decision makers just want his image cleaned up a little bit. We can do that. In Photoshop, just head over to the left-hand panel to the tools panel, hover over and find the spot healing brush tool, quick command of J. Once we have that selected, we can actually use the right and left bracket tools to size larger or smaller around each individual blemish. And then all you got to do is just tap, and it's going to really simply, really easily remove some of those blemishes. And if you don't like the results you get, if you get some sort of strange apparition that's left there, well, you can just undo and try it a few times with different sizes of your spot healing brush. Another technique inside of Photoshop that you're going to want to learn is how to use the powerful feature called content aware aware fill. All right, we're in Photoshop and I have a beautiful landscape image. The only problem is my landscape is stuck in portrait mode and I need some more width to actually place inside of my website. That's what the layout calls for. How am I going to fix this? We're going to use content aware fill. The first thing we need to do is head up to our image tab on the top and down to canvas size. Once we're there, we're going to give it some more width. Let's jump it up to 5,000 pixels of width, and then let's make it push or extend from the left-hand edge, creating this big empty gap that we have here. It's about twice as wide. Are we going to be able to fix this? We're going to find out. I'm going to press M for my marquee tool, and I'm going to actually drag over the empty space here like so. I want to fill this with content that's already established in the picture. Well, Photoshop is really smart. All we have to do is go up to edit and drop down to content aware fill. When we press that, it's going to do a little bit of thinking for us. It's going to open up a panel, and it's going to artificially, auto-magically start to insert some different scenery over here on the right-hand side. We can press OK, and you can see we have automatically extended our image. Now, it's using some of the imagery from the left-hand side, and sometimes it's kind of pushing it over or generating or duplicating whatever kind of dark magic it's doing. If it's not quite right for you, you can use some of the techniques we learned earlier, maybe your spot healing brush tool, and actually kind of mess with things and change it up a little bit. The last technique you might want to learn is how to composite multiple images together to create one unique image. Back into Photoshop, we have this lovely sky that we created and actually merged both sides of those layers down to one image. But this sky is a little bit boring. So I have another image that has this beautiful kind of like night sky. I'm just going to use my marquee. I'm going to come over and just select everything that's there. I'm going to copy by pressing Command C, come back over to my image and Command V, paste it in. I want this image to be on top. Now, compositing is a technique that has lots of little sub techniques or tricks and tips inside of it. I'm going to teach you just a few of the easiest and my favorite ways to composite images. The first thing you got to do is master the blending layers. I'm going to head over to my layers panel with my night sky selected. I'm going to jump over here to my blending layers and I'm just going to start moving through them until I find one that I like. I think darker color actually works pretty good, and so I'm going to select darker color. But you can see I get some funkiness out of my mountains. I can actually do one of the techniques we learned earlier, which is to select the subject matter and hope that it grabs the mountains. If it doesn't, I might be able to manually select my mountain range, press Command C, Command V. Now I've created a new layer that's just the mountain range, and you can see it's sitting on top of my night sky layer. So now I can open up my night sky layer. I can manipulate it and transform it and actually bring it down and make it a little bit bigger. And now I can maybe even bring the opacity of it back a tad bit so it kind of mixes in a little bit more, something like that. Now, technically speaking, we have done a composite. We've put multiple images together to create one new image, but the problem is these images don't look like they live together. Some of the contrast, the color, the things, they just look a little bit different. And this is where some of our techniques we already talked about are going to come into play. When we're compositing and adding multiple images together, we need to unite these images to make them feel like they're in the same space. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to use our adjustment layers, like we've already learned, to bring it together and sit on top of all of these pieces of our composite. Our adjustment layers are affecting everything beneath it, and so it's kind of knitting the whole thing together, making it feel a little bit more like one image. The last thing we can do to add that feeling of one image is to actually create a noise layer. To create our noise layer, we're going to head down and create a brand new layer that's empty. We're going to use our shape filled with white and just fill our layer with a nice clean white shape. Then we're going to head up to our filter menu, drop down to noise, and add some noise to this shape. It's going to say, hey, we want to make this a smart object or rasterize. That's fine. We can totally do that. But you can see we can change the amount of noise that's added until we get this kind of staticky TV screen look. That is actually what we want. We want it to be pretty staticky. Once that's done, we're going to reuse another one of those techniques we've already talked about, which is our blending layers. I'm going to multiply this layer. I'm going to bring the opacity down to something like 30%. Now you can see when I turn it on and off, there's just this slight amount of grain that actually resembles a little bit of that film look. And so we're applying a little bit of that grain and film look. And if you want to, you can even drag this inside of your group and turn it on and off and see the difference. It just knits the whole thing together and makes it look a little bit more like one image. Well, that's it. Those are the 5 most important Photoshop techniques for web and UI designers. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell so you know when more videos like this one come out. If you have any questions, leave those down in the comments. I hope you're having an amazing week. I hope you're designing amazing things, making amazing things, and stretching your skill set to be the best designer that you can be. I'll see you in the next one.